I've not been up to the allotment for a while, and I thought I'd take a look and see what's going on. The scarlet runner beans are doing really well. This rain that we've had in the last couple of weeks has really helped, and yeah, I think this kale has been a good idea. Putting this kale in between, it was empty space that was being wasted. So this curly kale, I think we'll do this again next year. Get some curly kale in there, in between the rows of runner beans. There's plenty of flowering. And Scarlet Emperor is a variety I've been growing for years. So for any of you who are thinking of growing runner beans, if you've not done so this year and it's something that you're thinking you might do in the future, get started with Scarlet Emperor. Something that I've had to do this year is think outside the box a little bit. The Polytunnel that I've had for a number of years got quite a bit of storm damage, and I'm in no rush to put another cover on it. In fact, what I thought I'd do this year is put some heavy mesh over the top and get some climbers. So we've got trailing marrow, which you can see, and what I'm going to try and do is train it up this heavy fencing, this mesh, sorry, and if that works, then I might do away with putting a cover on. And over here we've got a variety of pumpkin that I'm growing for the first time. It's Uchiki kuri. I think I've got that right. Anyway, we've got a few fruiting bodies on here, and if it trails up and gives me a couple of pumpkins, I'll be pleased with that. I've grown Crown Prince and I've featured it on the channel, but I thought we'd try something different this year. Oh, and this area is a bit of an experiment area. With not having the cover afforded by a polytunnel, I've decided to try and see if we can grow some outdoor tomatoes. And the temperatures have been quite favourable. And in fact, the flurry of rain that we've had in the last week or two has actually helped these tomatoes kick on. I'm not expecting the plants to get too big, and hopefully we're well past any risk of frost. So maybe it's the future, growing outdoor tomatoes. There's certainly a lot more airflow. Growing it in the polytunnel used to be quite a challenge. Just take a closer look at these. Yeah, so I'm quite pleased with that. Take a look at the greenhouse. This bit is where I featured the video on growing dwarf purple queen beans, and we've been harvesting quite a bit. delicious. It's a heavy cropper as well. And the fact that they're purple means you're less likely to miss them when you are harvesting. I mean, as I say, some of these need harvesting, and you don't want to get them much bigger than pencil size. Yeah, so plenty of nitrogen to help the plants get started. Like with any fruiting plants, once that flowering starts, shift over to a tomato feed. If you have comfrey, use some of that. This is one area where I have been growing tomatoes for the last few years, and it's in one of the greenhouses, and I have done a video recently. Check it out if you've not seen it. It's the one on how to cordon your tomatoes. But there's some promise here. I've got a bottle gourd growing in the corner. It's going to need a drink. The leaves are looking a bit wilting like. But there's a bottle gourd that's forming nicely. Let's take a look over here at the patch. Well, I've got two patches of broad beans, and this is an area where I've been growing broad beans on and off last few years. I'm going to need to do another harvest shortly on these broad beans. You know, broad beans are underrated. They're protein rich, and for those of you who know about Asian cooking, we put the broad beans in pulab, in a biryani type dish, and it's really meaty, and a fantastic alternative to meat anyway, and really good for you. So yeah, grow broad beans if you've never grown them before. As I say, we've done a couple of pickings from here already this season, and these were direct sown. And over here I've got a patch of Swiss chard or rainbow chard. I threw the seeds in, and they didn't germinate as readily as I thought they would, and I must have mixed the soil up a bit and shifted things about, because they've now germinated and they're a bit higgledy-piggledy, but that's okay. I think we'll let them grow on a bit more and then we'll start harvesting. And while I'm over here, I'll let you have a look at the Crown Prince patch. So we've got a number of pumpkins forming, and it's on a par with where things were last year. And we got a number of Crown Prince pumpkins harvested, and we had them over a number of months. They store really well, up to 5 months, and you can use them in all sorts. Make pumpkin soup, bit like butternut squash soup. And over here we've got some Dwarf Baloti beans. Not long before these are going to be ready for harvesting, drying, and then placing in mason jars. Do check out my early videos on drying and storing Baloti beans. These are the taro roots, or edos. We call them lota in Bengali, this particular bit, and we've got some lota coming through. These are the stems of the plant. And we've got the patch where we grow our lal shak, or red amaranth. I think this is the second or third batch this year. And we'll clear this and do another sowing. And in between we've got some mustard greens popping up. My apple trees are doing really, really well. They're laden with fruit. And I've said in previous episodes that fruit trees tend to have a year off, and this tree didn't produce much last year, only a few fruit, and this year it's full of apples, so that's really pleasing.